Excuse me, I'm sorry. That's right. That is direct scripture fulfilled in Jesus, that his soul was not left in hell, and he didn't see corruption. He was there 3 days. If he had been there 4 days, corruption would have set in. It was 4,000 years before Christ came. The earth was corruptible and corrupted because it had set in. Corruption had set in. We came in the fullness of time. I believe Peter quotes that scripture in the book of Acts concerning, "Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, nor suffer thy Holy One to see corruption." He didn't leave the soul of Jesus in 33.5 years of hell. Neither did he see his Holy One to see corruption. Neither did his body see corruption. His soul was not left in hell. His body did not see corruption. And the reason his body did not see corruption was because God did not give him another body. Let that sink in. See, Paul said about us, "I have another house." So I know this house is done. It's over with. I won't live eternally in this house. I have another house. But Jesus said, "I'll lay there 3 days and 3 nights, and I will arise." Not another, but I will arise. His body was glorified, changed from the mortal to the immortal. But Jesus has a body of flesh and bone, because he had a body of flesh and bone. God does not have a body of flesh and bone. The angels do not have flesh and bone. Only Jesus. Because he's the only one that came in the form of a man, God clothed in flesh. The angels did not. God did not. Jesus, to identify him eternally as the only sacrifice for my sins and the sins of the whole world. Therefore, God did not take that body from him. That was his sacrificial body. He will even have the scars in his hand, the imprint of the spear in his side, when they see him again. And when I see him, I will see the scars, because he's forever identified eternally as the only sacrifice, not another.
He's the only one allowed to live with that body in heaven.
He's the only one allowed to live with a glorified body, not a spirit, but flesh and bone. So this is a wonderful truth here, you see. This is a wonderful truth. I hope you get that. Because, see, Jesus never will look like one of the angels. He will never be as God, the Spirit. He will never be that. He will be clearly identifiable eternally as the only one that God was incarnate in and sacrificed. And his body was changed, and he arose in a glorified body. Questions?
He can still, though, appear where he will.
The marvelous thing is he can appear whether he will appear. He could, the door would never open. He could be sitting right there by rock. He can come in and take a chair by you. Never have to walk from that door to where you are with Peter. There he is. There he is. Because he's the Christ. Appeared in their midst. On the seashore. Come and dine, children. Come and dine. You know.
I believe, Brother Marlow, that God never will destroy some creation, but give him another body. Because Christ is the only creation, the Almighty God, isn't it?
Yeah, he said in the book of Psalms, sacrifice and offerings I would not. In Hebrews also. But it is written in the volume of the book, I come to do thy will, O God. A body hast thou prepared me. That was the body the Lord prepared for him in the womb of Mary. And it is there. It's just glorified. It was crucified, but it was glorified. It was glorified. Brother Les?
Can you imagine how the disciples felt in verse 20?
In John 20?
20 and 20.
Yeah, well, that's where he showed them his hands and his side. And that was what he knew. They would have to have something to believe. Christ knows creation, knows mankind. He knows that the Jewish people, when he returns again, they must identify him. Indisputable proof. They crucified him, but now he's back again. He is the glorified Christ. He is the Messiah, beyond any question. When he returns again, 144,000 Jews cannot dispute the fact that this is the same Christ that they crucified. The Romans crucified him, but with the assent of the Jewish, part of the Jewish people. Not all of the Jewish people, but they said crucify. So this is indisputable proof. Yeah. Go ahead, Deborah.
In my Bible, I have where, in the 7th verse about the napkin, where it signified that if it was over the mouth, that the breath was gone.
Yes.
And if it was unfolded, that meant he was coming back. So when it comes in, it says it was not lying with the linen, with the clothes, but it was by itself in a different place. Even with that, just being an outward thing that they saw, they still didn't understand that what he was saying when he said meant he was coming back. They still didn't, even with the napkin or anything else, still didn't understand what he meant. Is that right?
That's right. That's true. And another illustration, I gave this to the church some time ago, a few weeks ago, also at the napkin, which was the same type napkin as they used at the table of the feast, that the host of the feast, the Passover feast in a house, when they were eating the lamb, the host, if he folded the napkin and left it apart from the linen, that then it would it was showing that he had not finished the feast, that he was coming back to finish the feast. If he just took the napkin and crumpled it up and used it, laid it aside, crumpled, he was through. He was not coming back. But here the napkin is folded by itself, showing that he was not through yet, that there was to be a return. It's very good.
Hey,
Yeah.
Marlow?
Yes.
Is there anywhere that states that Judas's napkin was crumbled?
Pardon me?
That Judas's napkin was crumbled at the supper?
I confess I'm not up on that. I should, there may be. I need to go back through that, and I will, now that you brought that to my attention. Because he was finished.
He was finished.
Judas was finished. What thou doest, go and do quickly. Jesus said. He said, go and do quickly. You're done. You're through.